Hi, I'm Natalie, and we are going to sew the heart potholder kit. If you purchased a heart box, this was inside the box. This is the project. Let's go overhead. So I'm going to use this exclusive Sew Hungry Hippie acrylic template to cut out the shapes. Here's the pattern, which we have written out for you, and there is an extra pattern piece here in case you don't want to use your acrylic template. So this is what they end up looking like. They're so cute. You can opt to make it with one layer of the thermo insulbright or 2 layers. I like my heating pad with 2 layers, but I will say that the 1 layer version sits a little flatter and looks a little nicer, just an FYI. Use your discretion. But I'm going to walk you through making this. You'll need an iron. You need your all-purpose Gutermann thread, hopefully, a universal 80-12 needle. Get out your fabrics, and away we go. This doesn't take long at all. So first things first, prep and construction. Cut out all pieces using your acrylic template. And in step 1, I tell you exactly what you need. And for this, you'll see that I put, to help you on this, if you have a kit, I tell you which fabric. And that was really important for me because the first time I sewed this, I turned the heart the wrong way out and I had insulbright showing. So I am doing this in a way where no matter how you turn your heart out, it's correct. So there's an extra layer of this in here, but it's like a safety gap, okay? So just trust. Okay, I'm going to cut out my fabrics first. So this is the white floral. I think I'm going to take my sweater off so I can really do this without any hindrance. Sometimes you have to dress for the occasion. Okay, so we need 3 pieces of this fabric. So I'm just going to do this. Now you can use a tool. If you have a little 28mm rotary cutter, it'll go around these curves just fine. If you don't, you can just draw them and cut them out after. Fine either way. I'm going to cut those 2. I need another one. Oh, I think I folded that a little too generously that first time. That's okay, I can make it just fits. Okay, so there's those 3. I'm going to put that aside. And then we need 2 insulbright pocket pieces and 2 insulbright full heart pieces and then 4 pocket pieces of this fabric. So let's do this one first. I'll do insulbright last. Pocket pieces are just this. You don't have to cut anything on the fold, but you do want your pocket pieces to be aligned correctly. So make sure that because this is directional, we want it to lay on the fabric like this, okay? So we'll cut 2 here. What I like to do is butt it right up against the fold, and then I just cut the fold. There will be 2. And there will be 4. I definitely need a new blade. Okay, I'm going to cut that fold away in just a second. In here, there it is, 2 pocket pieces. And let's do it with this one. Two pocket pieces. So 4 total. Done. Now let's do the insulbright. Oh, I could cut my binding, I suppose. So that's the coral, this one. And a hanging loop, if you want a hanging loop. I don't do hanging loops because I don't have anywhere to hang it in my kitchen, but I'll do it for you guys. So my binding, I'm going to cut it at 2 inches. And as far as lengths, we just need enough. I'm going to cut off the selvage here. We just need enough for the pocket pieces. So if you want to take a pocket piece and eyeball it here, give yourself enough room. See, I really do need a new blade. So there's 1 and 1, there's 2. And then for these 2, and then I've got enough left over for the hanging loop, and this is all extra. So I'll put that over there. And now the insulbright. This one is a little bit tighter. So let's do this. Did that even mark? Yeah, it did. There's a full heart piece. Isn't that cute? And now I need the pocket pieces. I am going to change my blade. When you start having to press really hard to cut, you know you need a new blade. And we'll put that in our sharps container. I'm going to cut the 2 pocket pieces, the insulbright pocket pieces now. Now we're going to trim these pieces down 1/4 inch in a few minutes. So don't get too hung up on how perfect you cut them out, because it doesn't matter for the insulbright. We're going to trim them down. Oh, that's so nice to have a new blade. Thank you. Okay, so let's trim these down right now. I'm going to lay my hearts right on top of each other. And I like to do about a 1/2 inch. I say 1/4 inch, but really I like to do about a 1/2 inch because it's just easier for me to sew. Okay, there's that. See how easy? You don't have to sweat it. Don't get crazy particular, because it really won't matter. You just want to trim off some so when we're putting this thing together, you're not having to sew all those layers. Okay, there we are. Now we're ready to sew. Isn't that great? All right, I do have some 505 here, but I don't think I'm going to need it. So if you're battling the layers at all, just get yourself some 505 adhesive spray and use that if you want to. So we're going to do one lining heart. That's this one. Wrong side up. So like this. So the print is facing down. And then we're going to do the 2 layers of insulbright full hearts on here. And you want to make sure that you have space all around. If you don't have any space, trim down your insulbright hearts a little more if you need to. It's okay. You want to have space all around. And now you're going to add a heart on the top, right side facing up or towards you. Now I find that just giving these a quick press will hold them in place really well. Even though that's not a fusible product, it just seems to grip. But again, if you need that 505 spray, do it now. It's fine. And now we're going to baste all around the outer perimeter, or if you rather quilt this, you can quilt it in any which way design you want to. I'm going to move to the machine, and I'm just going to baste. Ramel, can you switch the camera for me? So I've got my stitch way up at a 4.5 to 5, and I'm just going around the outer edge here. Lift my foot, needle is still down, and lower the foot. Okay, so now it's basted. And now we're going to, so what you can do, if you wanted to quilt that, just go ahead and quilt it. Okay, so now we're going to move to the pocket construction. We're going to do one pocket piece, wrong side up, like this. And then you're going to do a layer of insulbright, and I want you to match these straight edges. So there, you should see fabric all around, okay? And then you're going to take another pocket piece and lay it on top. And you can probably guess what we're going to do. Now remember, if you need 505, go ahead and do that. If you don't, I'm just going to give mine a quick press. And then we're going to baste around those edges. You can quilt these pockets if you prefer. Just depends on the look you want to have at the end. So you want to take more time and quilt it, totally do it. Okay, so there's a pocket piece. Now what we're going to do is take one of the one of the binding pieces. Just cut it straight grain. It doesn't have to be on the bias because this is a straight edge that we're binding. We're going to bind that straight pocket edge because that shows. So I folded my piece in half lengthwise and pressed, and I am going to align the straight edge and the raw edge of the binding along that straight edge. And I'm going to sew all the way down. Let's go to the machine. And turn your stitch length back down to your usual. Okay, now it's like this. Now you're going to wrap it around. We're going to go over to the iron. I like to press it first because then it just behaves better for me. If you want to use pins or clips to hold it in place, do so. You are covering that first stitching line. So this will be the top. This will be the left pocket on the pot holder. And then we're going to stitch all down that straight edge. Let's go to the machine. I'm going to show you here. Just check, you know, sometimes it can help to look from afar a little bit. Make sure that you're binding the fold is straight and all that. And then here we go. And it's just right along that edge, 1/8 of an inch, pretty much. There we are. I'm just going to trim the excess binding. And there we are. That one's ready to go. That'll be that side of the pot holder. Now let's do the other pocket. Wrong side up. Align those straight edges. Put this guy on top. And then I'm going to give it a press. If you need to use 505 to hold your layers, please do so. I'm going to baste all around that outer edge. Oop, I can turn my stitch length back up. Don't worry about it if you sew a pucker in like I just did. The binding's going to cover that. It's no sweat. No need to worry about it. I'm going to fold this in half. I'm going to bind that straight edge. Now I do want to be cognizant of which side is my correct side. So this is going to be the edge that I fold to last. So I need to sew it to this side first. And that just makes sure that the prettiest side is on top. That's why I pay attention to that. Now we're going to flip that over. I'm going to fold that up. If you want to make your binding thicker, you can absolutely do so. To each their own. Or I don't know if it's not thicker, wider is what I mean. A lot of times on quilts I do a 2.5 or a 3-inch binding just because I like a chunky binding. But on this one I thought, well, it's a delicate project, and for smaller delicate projects I like a smaller binding. So let's sew that down. Remember to turn your stitch length back down. Okay, so now I'm going to take it back and I'm going to snip the excess binding away. And like I said, the pucker doesn't show because of the binding. See how they're lining up now? We're so close. Now you're on step 4. Place the remaining lining right side up, and you can place the pocket in position. So this was meant for you so that you didn't feel like you were doing too many layers over here. So this, I have you pin it to this remaining lining piece. And the pockets should be flush, bottom centers touching, and then we can pin in place and baste all around the edge. So let me grab my pins. I do suggest you use pins for this part because these areas can move really easily, especially during sewing. So I like to take a pin in and make sure they are correct so I can get them really precise and in the right place. All right, let's sew all the way around the edge. I'm going to start over, so I'm sewing the bottoms all at once. And again, I'm not sewing the insulbright, I'm sewing just the fabric pieces, so it's very easy to sew these. Lift my foot and pivot. Now if you choose to have a hang loop, we need to add that. So with your remaining piece here, you know what, let's just make the whole thing. So what I want you to do is fold these edges into the center and then fold and press, and we'll sew down that open side first and then the other side for a balanced look. So I'm bringing edges in to meet in the center and then fold it over again. This is just like binding. Double fold extra wide, double fold binding. Yeah, that's what I like. The right stuff, rights. Okay, now I'm going to sew down that open edge first, and then I will sew the other side just for looks. So Ramel will bring us back to the machine when he's ready. There's that side. Oh, don't forget to turn your stitch length back to usual. And there it is. And now what we're going to do is figure out how long you want your hang loop. I cross mine like this. And then I just kind of figure, well, I think, yeah, that's going to be enough. So I'll trim that excess away after I get this attached. So I'm going to pin it. And by the way, just kind of eyeball where you want it. I feel like the heart sits better when it hangs from the loop like this. But if you wanted to put it in the center, you absolutely can. It's your choice. So I'm going to sew this down. And I'm going to go over it a couple of times. Okay, that's good and attached. go. And now when this is all sewn, that'll be like that. Perfect. Okay, so that was step 5. And then we're going to take the lining, heart, right sides with this piece, right sides together. See how I have both sides covered here? That's on purpose, so you don't mix this part up in any way. I'm going to put these together. You can pin or clip, whatever is most comfortable for you to do. Okay, so now what we're going to do is mark an opening for turning right sides out later. So I'm going to make mine down here on this straighter edge. Here, maybe here to here. And that will be my opening. And what I'm going to do on that section is baste stitch, a really large stitch, and then unpick it, because then the fabric is just trained better to turn back in after we turn this right sides out. So I'm going to do 2 little dots on this side because you just want to do it on the straightest portion. Don't try to have the opening up here on a curve, because you probably not get that very well closed after the fact. Okay, here we go. Now hopefully your insulbright is not in your seams. You can move it to the machine. And you're just sewing those fabric layers together. This should be really simple. Right now I'm to the part where I had to go over those hang loop layers. You get down here to your V point on the heart. You got to leave that needle down, lift your foot, and turn your heart. You have a previous line of stitching there. Try to sew inside that so you don't see that once we turn the heart right sides out. That was my base stitch. Take all the pins out. Now, if you want to, you can pink these edges with pinking shears for a really crisp, curved edge once you turn it right side out. But I found that it didn't make a difference for me whether I did that or not, so I'm not going to. Now, let me find where I base stitched. Yeah, this side. Just going to take my scalpel in and unpick a few stitches. And because we basted, they come apart very easily. There it is. I might take it a bit bigger. Now, if you feel like you have excess seams here, go ahead and snip those out. Snip them away. And also clip into your V. Reducing any bulk we can always helps the finished product look better. And I look at it from both sides too. All right, let's do this. Oh, I popped that on that side. Okay, I was a little too aggressive in my turning. I'll just use some clips here to hold this under. and we will top stitch all the way around the potholder, enclosing any seams. There we go. I'm almost there. I take my time turning these edges in because I don't want to have to do this again. Okay, there we go. I'm going to use my big clip down here. Okay, now I'm going to go all the way around the heart, and we're finished. Remember to turn your stitch length back down to your usual length. Mine is 3 millimeters here. Finesse this, and I'm going to have to stand in front of my machine a little bit here. This part you might need to lift your foot, or if you feel more comfortable using a walking foot, you could always do that. It really depends on your machine and what your machine can handle as far as layers and that kind of thing. Here's the part that I missed a little bit, so I'm repairing it. There we go. Trim any threads. And there's your hot pad. Ooh, I have some threads to trim down here. So you can slide your hand in and grab your pans just like that. You can size it down if you need to size it down, or you can size it up, make it longer, whatever you want to do. I like this kind of holder. Do you?
That's cute. I didn't know exactly how was it gonna work.
Yeah, that's how it works. And then you can hang it on a magnet on your fridge or stove or wherever you want. On your cabinet knob, whatever you need to. And it's cute all around and even on the inside. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you make a million more and sell them at your craft shows. Your little heart pot holders, they'll be a hit as long as you're positive and smiling. Really, they'll be a hit. And I will see you next time. Peace, love, sewing.